Hey, it's Johnny, and it's time to preview St. Joe Bears playoff football with Brett Witkowski. Your football preview brought to you by our friends at Lazer Graphics. Give them the stuff they want from Lazer Graphics. Go to lazergraphics.com. Brett, looking forward to this game. I know the Bears, pretty much from the beginning of the season, we felt they looked good. They played well throughout the whole stretch of the season, and now they are in the playoffs up against Lakeshore.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are, shocked that Lakeshore got in. It's a PowerPoint system. They're the first 3 and 16 to get in, other than the year when there was COVID. But it's based off the schedule. Every team in the SMAC West got into the playoffs, and then
Wow.
Lakeshore played Kalamazoo Central from the East, which is the team from the East that got into the playoffs. So Lakeshore's schedule gave them the PowerPoints to get into the playoffs. There's 32 teams per division that get in, an 11-man, and they were 31st. So it tells you they played a tough schedule, and at the end of the day, you play who's on the schedule. Lakeshore is a young team. They have nothing to lose in this game.
Mm-hmm.
The pressure is on St. Joe not to have a repeat of what happened last year when they beat Lakeshore 35-0 in the regular season, and then
Mm-hmm.
lost by in the playoffs by a couple. So
Right.
St. Joe is a veteran team. They come to play, and they've done that all but, I would say, of the 18 halves, probably only 3 halves where I thought they didn't play well. Madawan game in the first half against Battle Creek Central. Last week's game against Portage Central defensively was just outstanding. And this week, St. Joe is at full strength on the defensive side. They were not even at full strength last week. And, last week's game started out, St. Joe ran a trick play. It worked, but then the ball got hung up in the wind.
Oh, no.
And it got picked off. And then Portage Central went right down, got to the 2.5-yard line, could not get it in. Then on 4th down, St. Joe got in the backfield and dropped a runner for a loss. Then St. Joe, in turn, went 97 yards and scored on a drive.
Wow.
And that was dominant. They've had 3 shutouts this year. That was probably the most dominating defensive effort I've seen all season. And hopefully with them even being healthier this week, with a starter up front being back, that should make them even tougher.
And what would you say might be different for St. Joe and against Lakeshore? Because I know when they played previously, I know between the time they played earlier in the season to now, Lakeshore has kind of made some adjustments and some changes with different personnel, as well as they've been playing a lot better towards the latter half of the season. So what can we expect, and how is Coach Pratley kind of preparing for what could be different?
Well, I'm not sure they're doing a lot different. I think they've gotten healthier. They've gotten
Mhm.
Griffith back, who's a state champion as a freshman in long jump, and you can't replace some athletes. You just can't. And when he didn't play, I think he might have tried a couple plays in that first game. Um, you can't just replace that on the field. You can try, you can talk about it, but you just can't. So I think you got to keep him under control. Can't allow big plays. Hall's been throwing the ball well. I think you've got to contain him, put pressure, and like you do on any quarterback. And then the one thing St. Joe does well is they tackle well in the open field, and so they do a lot of gang tackling, but they also do some great one-on-one tackling. And the one thing I'll say for St. Joe's defense, they scout their opponents extremely well. I'll give you an example. Portage Central might have been on a 9 or 10-yard lane. They ran a bootleg to right side or rollout, and
Mhm.
then flooded the left side of the field with 2 wideouts. Most schools would have bit the bullet and let those 2 guys be wide open. St. Joe had 3 DBs sitting right there, and the quarterback, if he'd looked opposite, had 2 guys open. But because he kept going that way all season, St. Joe read it perfectly and ended up, knocking that down and forcing or getting the ball back. I think on the offensive side, St. Joe's front line is a real deal.
Mhm.
They've got guys visiting big time colleges. One of them was at Kentucky last week, and 6'6", 300, 6'3", 250, and they
Wow.
can roll. And then you got your running backs with Chapman, who probably I'm gonna bet on that team for his size. You know, they do a pounds per pound at how much you weigh and how much you can lift. He's probably the strongest lift. I bet he's the strongest lifter on the program. He'll
Wow.
stiff arm people left and right. Halstead is kind of more of the fullback out of that formation. It's not technically called that. He's healthy now. And then they get some guys come off the bench. Bell came off the bench and running back well. And then throwing the ball. St. Joe's spreading around a lot passing wise with Chapman at quarterback, DeLong at tight end, Ciccarella. I mean, you name it, hitting all those type of guys.
Yeah, they got a lot of weapons for sure, and seeing them healthy as they possibly make a playoff run is a good thing. But this is a game that we always look forward to. Everybody, whether it be playoffs or regular season, the St. Joe Lakeshore game is always a super well attended. Of course, the place is going to be packed. It's going to be a fun game. Neighborly rivalry is what I always like to say with this. So it's going to be a lot of friends playing against each other. So it's going to be fun to watch. It'll
be fun, but it'll be intense too. I mean,
the
reality it is, you may be friends, but at the end of the day, there's only one person that walks off a winner.
Exactly.
And if it's not you, it's your opponent. So, I played in that rival, and afterwards we became friends, but not during. And everybody knows how competitive I am. I just you're there to play and to win. The one thing I will say is I think this year's high school football has been the hardest hitting football I have seen in a long time. And it's in a safe way. You don't see guys leaving the head, just those type of things. And the equipment continues to get safer and safer. And I haven't seen as many injuries as I've seen in years past. But I'll tell you what, I think it'll be a hard hitting game. I think, St. Joe's on a mission. They don't want a repeat of last year either.
Absolutely not.
That stuck in them for 350 days. Lakeshore is a young team that gets an extra week, maybe two, who knows? I mean, Phil and I did I remember this, and we talked about it on a coach's show. 20 years ago, we did the Benton Harbor Holiday Tournament, and there was a team called Bellevue. Bellevue ended the regular season, I think 6-14. Not a good season. Did not have a good holiday tournament. They looked horrible. We're watching the playoffs. Next thing we know, Bellevue's in the state championship game.
Wow.
In Class A with a losing record. And so, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Banners are not held for a good, are not hung up in football stadiums for great Augusts and Septembers and Octobers. Are hung up for great Novembers. And, either team has a chance to have a great November. But only one will have that chance.
And this is good. This game will be good for both teams, like you said. Is that experience that Lakeshore is going to get for the younger kids, and then the mission that St. Joe is on to make a run in the playoffs. It should be a fun game to watch and listen to as well. And so go to the game, listen on the radio as well. Bring your earbuds if you want to listen to the game live. 6:30 pregame, and then you guys will have the kickoff right at 7:00.
Yeah, and what's cool is we've got our whole list of friends from around the 3-county area who are sending us quarter scores. So if you want to know what's going on at the Coloma game, the Niles game, Paw, we'll have Bering Springs, Gobles, we'll have people reporting all those scores. But, the interesting thing, Johnny, I think going into if people go to the game is watch the number of kids on each sideline. Yep. I think St. Joe's dressing 90. Yeah, that's more than some schools have an enrollment. And I think Lakeshore is probably 60 or so. And I know people focus on St. Joe's seniors, but St. Joe's JVs was loaded. They're 7-1-1. I did 2 of their games. They are good. So the talent, they got a program going. People talk about Benton Harbor basketball, and they're like, oh, they graduated all these guys. They're not going to be any good. I'm like, no, it's a program. They have guys just waiting their turn.
Yep. Yeah, 2 storied programs going up against each other. It'll be a fun thing to listen to. And like we said, you can't miss the game when you're at the stadium, even if you go to the bathroom for a moment or you go to the stand, you got the game on.
I think I help people go quicker.
All right, Brett.
I got to save you a Mama Graziano cook. When you coming up? You haven't been up this season.
I did come up this season. I came up to the second or third game, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
well, how about you come up with this one? You bring your wife. You guys come up, be a good date, and you can take her downtown St. Joe for something.
my brother's in town. Maybe I'll bring my brother.
Bring your brother.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, let me know. Text me ahead of time so I do save you a cookie, though.
All right. Yeah, because they'll be gone.
Good chances of it. Yeah.
Just give me a bag of crumbs. All right. Check out the game at WSJM.com. You can also on the app and at 94.9 WSJM. But your St. Joe Bears football preview brought to you by our friends at Lazer Graphics. Give them the stuff they want from Lazer Graphics. Go to lazergraphics.com. And that's laser with a Z.